Get down. The man shouting was no real cop. He wore a poorly stitched security uniform with a fake HOA badge on his chest and wielded a Glock like it made him king of the block. The black gun trembled as he pointed it at my daughter's head, his face red with rage over a minor parking infraction. What happened next would ignite a revolution in our neighborhood and ripple far beyond. My daughter, Magnolia Storm, didn't flinch. With a move so fast I barely saw it, she disarmed him. 1 second the gun was in his hand, the next she held it cool and steady. I've trained Navy SEALs to neutralize threats in 37 different ways, she said, her voice calm and controlled. Is illegal parking supposed to be the 38th? The neighborhood went still. 3 minutes later, the Real police arrived. And an 8-year empire of intimidation began to crumble. My name is Jetstorm. I'm a retired aerospace engineer, once with NASA, now just a guy who enjoys gardening and peace. My wife Ravina and I have lived in the Sunny Pines community for 15 years. We followed every rule from the color of our mailbox to the species of drought-tolerant plants allowed in our front yard. We put up with it all. Until that day. Magnolia had come to visit after 6 months away. Her job as a tactical and psychological trainer for elite military units kept her busy. When she arrived in her modified military jeep, she looked exhausted, 36 years old, with 12 years of military experience behind her and bone-deep fatigue in her eyes. She had parked in the guest space next to our house, designated for 30 minutes only. But she had heavy boxes, equipment for a new security system she wanted to install for us. And right after we started unloading, her phone rang. A trainee she was mentoring had suffered a PTSD episode. The anniversary of a tragic operation was triggering him. I watched as she sat on our couch, grounding the young man over the phone. Her voice was calm and assertive, using every tool she developed to help soldiers survive not just war zones, but the aftermath. She hung up, rubbed her temples, and apologized. We'd forgotten the Jeep. And soon, we'd wish we hadn't. A thunderous knock rocked our doorframe. It was Nero Wilder, the self-appointed chief of the HOA security team. Dressed like a third-rate mall cop, he barked at me the moment I opened the door. Your daughter needs to move that military monstrosity. It's been parked for 43 minutes. Clipboard in hand, he began scribbling a citation with visible glee. Wilder had been fired from a real security job years ago. He had found his kingdom in our HOA, ruling through intimidation. Behind his mirrored shades, I could see his anticipation. Magnolia joined me, professional and composed despite her weariness. Sir, I just completed a multi-day training operation. I was helping my elderly parents and got caught on a critical call. I'll move the vehicle after I eat. But Wilder wasn't listening. Tow truck's on the way. That's $800 in fines. Magnolia's eyes narrowed, a subtle signal I recognized from her youth. She was running assessments, calculating options. Mr. Wilder, she said evenly, I'm requesting a reasonable accommodation. Instead of responding, he raised his phone and began filming her face. Inches away. You're refusing to comply, he said. This is going in your file. She turned to leave. Then he grabbed her arm. What happened next was over in a heartbeat. She twisted his wrist, stepped behind him, and tossed him backwards into the rose bushes. He landed hard. You assaulted a security officer, he screamed, thorns clinging to his uniform. I'm calling the real police. 20 minutes later, he returned with 2 HOA board members, Carl Johnson, a nervous accountant who followed orders, and Zania Ramirez, a newcomer tricked into coming under false pretenses. Wilder was shaking with rage. Magnolia, breathing deeply, composed herself and stepped outside to face them. Wilder pulled a gun. A real Glock. He pointed it straight at her. Get on the ground, he barked. You're under arrest. Carl nearly fainted. Zania gasped, backing away. Magnolia didn't blink. She assessed the scene with precision. 12 feet to Wilder. 5 feet to Carl. Multiple witnesses across the street. She spoke, her voice steady. Mr. Wilder, you're committing a felony. Lower your weapon. I am the law here, he shouted. Her words flowed with care. Let's talk. No one needs to get hurt. Is a parking space worth prison? She moved forward in slow, imperceptible steps, hands slightly raised, calming, waiting. The moment his hand twitched on the trigger, she struck. In one swift move, she deflected his wrist, twisted, and disarmed him. The struggle lasted seconds. Wilder ended face down on our lawn, his arm pinned, weapon safely away. Real police arrived. Officer Rodriguez listened as Magnolia explained everything with precise military clarity. Weapon secured. Chamber cleared. No additional threats on his person. Wilder was handcuffed and driven off, still shouting. But Nancy Weber, HOA president and wife of the police chief's golf buddy, wasn't about to let it end there. She showed up at the police station. Suddenly, everything changed. Wilder was released. His weapon returned. Chief Thompson called it a misunderstanding. Wilder had only felt threatened. We were shocked. Furious. But not defeated. That night, we received a notice of an emergency HOA meeting. A vote to evict us. Magnolia called Michael Chin, her friend and civil rights attorney. This isn't about parking, she said. It's a racket. They're using the HOA as a cover. Michael arrived the next day, briefcase in hand. We began to uncover the truth. Wilder had a sealed criminal record. Nancy had embezzled funds. The HOA collected $600,000 annually, and most of it went to fake contracts, fake security, and slush funds. They even funneled money to the police chief. We collected stories from residents. Harassment, vandalism, racial targeting, illegal surveillance. Magnolia built a case. The night of the HOA vote, the community center was packed. Nancy tried to silence us. Magnolia stood, citing the bylaws. Then she presented charts, photos, emails, financial records. She exposed them all. As tension peaked, the doors flew open. Special Agent Carter of the FBI entered with officers from the neighboring county. Nancy Weber. Nero Wilder. You're under investigation for fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Gasps. Shouts. Cheers. Residents testified. Videos were shown. Wilder and Nancy were arrested on the spot. The fallout was swift. Chief Thompson resigned under federal investigation. The HOA was dismantled. Elections were held. Transparency and fairness restored. Magnolia, with Michael, launched a nonprofit, Community Shield. It offered legal aid to victims of HOA abuse, taught communities how to organize and protect themselves. Within a year, they helped reform HOAs in over 30 states. Magnolia trained organizers, created online courses, and inspired a national movement. Our neighborhood transformed. Children played freely. Neighbors talked again. At the one-year anniversary, the community center hosted a celebration. Magnolia stood on stage. Sometimes the real enemies aren't foreign, she said. They're the ones who demand silence in the name of order. But communities, when united, are stronger than fear. The crowd rose in thunderous applause. That Jeep parked a few minutes too long? It sparked a revolution. And if you're living under the rule of a Wilder in your own HOA, know this, you are not alone. Magnolia Storm proved that one determined person, backed by truth and community, can bring down an empire of abuse and build something better in its place.